Fire away, guys.
Is it a good thing to see your next opponent coming off of a weekend like they just had, or does it really matter?
We played Colorado and Josh Scott didn't play. We knew that before the game. He didn't play. I don't think it matters if people are coming off of a great weekend, a poor weekend. It's right now I'm so in us doing what we're supposed to do. And I know you probably get tired of me hearing that, but if I told you something else, I'd be making something up.
Is there just anything then to this Cal team? I mean, obviously they play so well at home, 16 wins. I think they are tied in the nation with the most home wins. But when they go on the road, they're totally different. So have you seen a difference between them at home and on the road?
I think on the road, there have been a couple of times they had the game won, and they just didn't pull it up. Maybe they didn't make enough foul shots or whatever it was, but they're still an impressive team. I've said that from day one. That group is impressive, and they have a lot of experience. Wallace, Matthew, Jabari Bird, Singer. These guys have played in a lot of games, and Ivan Rabb obviously is a fantastic freshman. Jalen Brown is a guy that coming out of high school, everyone in the country felt he was probably one of the top 10 freshmen in America. So he's not as experienced as those guys, but he's so much more talented than a lot of players that are experienced. You put those guys together. And the thing I've noticed with them is when Conzo Martin came into this league, my thought was he's going to make sure those guys play hard, and they're going to be guarding you. And I think now they're starting to really, he's with them last year. Now they're really starting to catch that vision of how hard they need to play and how hard they need to guard, according to their coach. That's what I see with the team, as opposed to the fact that they haven't won very much on the road or not. I see it as they can put that thing together anytime and whip off a few down the stretch.
Does it matter at all on Thursday if Tyrone comes off the bench or if he starts? Do you sort of game plan that way?
No. If he started, at some point he's going to be out of the game. So whether he's in or not, whatever our game plan is, you have to game plan in that regard as opposed to if he's starting or coming off the bench.
Going back to your team, though, Coach, what was the message that you wanted to send to these guys after the road trip that you guys had?
We need to learn, hopefully we learn, that our philosophy is to attack offensively and defensively. The end result of that needs to change and be adjusted based on where the defense is and how. If the team is back, we have to be more selective in our attack at that point. It's tough. It's a tough balance because our group has been so successful early in the clock, being able to get to the rim and get open shots. But now, as teams scout you more, as teams get better, as teams get better defensively, there's a wall in there that we have to recognize that's there, so we got to move that ball more. I think that's one of the biggest, offensively, one of the biggest things we have to be able to do, and I think playing in Colorado, Utah, here against Arizona, we lost a couple of leads, we had momentum. Those deficiencies kind of reared their ugly heads. We have to keep people in front of us. When there's penetration, people get to the rim on us, which a lot of teams try to do because of our pressure. That causes us to come over and try to block shots. That causes rotations. That causes other teams to get on the boards. They get offensive rebounds. That causes more fouls because now they're around the rim and you're trying to get the ball. They're going up. You're trying to block the shot and they score. So that dribble penetration causes a lot of problems for us. We have to do a better job that way. So I think not just Colorado, but there's been a pattern here that we have seen that we have to do a better job of, and we have to correct it.
So defensively, does that mean when the possession looks like it's clearly in the half court, you guys just have to be more disciplined and just have to stay in front of your? I mean, is that an example of what you're talking about?
Too, but in transition, defensive transition, sometimes we'll be back. We're there. but we're not in position. We're not in position to help. We're not in position to stop anyone, but we're back. We have to be better organized and more aware and more attentive of what's going on in transition on the defensive end before they set up. Something we do, we play a great, we have a great defensive possession, and this happens a lot. Under 10 seconds, they have not been able to get a shot. They weren't able to run offense, and they go to the basket and we foul. A needless foul. We'll reach. We'll slap at the ball. They'll shoot the ball and get the offensive rebound. We have to do a better job on that too.
Speaking of patterns, when I look at this 3-game skid, one commonality that jumps out is how one big man from the opponent, whether it was Portal going 11 for 12, whether it was Ryan Anderson getting 8 offensive rebounds, or Wesley Gordon getting offensive rebounds. There's always somebody that just kind of had their way physically with you down there. Did that jump out to you as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. We have to do a better job as a team that way. Some of that has to do with us coming over with block shots. Some of it is not as much as you might think, but sometimes with switching we get caught on a big guy, a Wesley Gordon, a Ryan Anderson, and they make it to offensive rebound. But that's not the core of it. The dribble penetration. The guys you mentioned happen to be guys that are pretty tall, happen to be guys that they do that to other teams too. And when you allow penetration, that tallest guy, that most tenacious guy, somehow is the one that finds his way to the ball when that happens.
So is this a matter of you guys being smarter, or is this maybe just a little more simple and you guys being more physical and just having that desire and making sure that turning 8 rebounds into 4 offensive rebounds, just making sure you get those 50-50s and those extra ones? How much is it just that?
I think the word might be more determined.
Okay.
It starts from that dribble penetration. I'm going to be determined. We'll close out, and we're upright sometimes, and we got to be more down in the stance. We got to be determined to keep the guy in front, and then when the shot goes up, we have to be determined to not leak out. Sometimes we want to get out and go. So I'm watching, I'm taking a step this way toward the other way, and then that ball bounces about 4 feet in front of you. And we don't get the ball, they get it. If we would have all gone to the board, it wouldn't have happened. When we're really playing and we're really determined, what you'll see is that ball will go up, and you'll see guards coming back, and they're about to get it, the opposition. The guard comes slap it or just jump over them and get it, because we're all going back to the boards. We're not good enough to leak out and just rely on 1 or 2 guys to go get the rebound, like we were able to do sometimes with John Brockman. But this group, everyone has to rebound.
Do the rebounding issues make you consider tweaking strategy or scheme or anything like that? Maybe if I move this around, or if we stop doing this or this, or is it just something else entirely?
One of the reasons we are guarding the way we're guarding with the switching, our philosophy is twofold. One is looking at our personnel, what works, and then even though their switching is not as easy as some might think, there are some fundamental things that need to take place. It's a known fact. It's hard for freshmen to get through screens when they're freshmen. There are some things that it takes a while for freshmen to do. And what a lot of people want to talk about is, well, Kentucky has freshmen, Duke had freshmen, all that. And I'll tell you, Kentucky had several seniors with those guys too, or upperclassmen with them. And then sometimes a guy like Anthony Davis, maybe he has 0 fundamentals, but somehow it's going to work out for him because he's so far superior to others. But there's a group of freshmen like we have, young players, and even like Malik Dime is not a freshman, but he's been playing basketball. He didn't start when he was in the 4th grade. He's still relatively new. Guys are still trying to pick this up, and it's always interesting to me when we start practice in the beginning of the year and you have 1 or 2 freshmen or 3, and then we're doing our defensive drills and you watch the guys that are already there. I mean, they are totally on point, moving just the way they should, and you can just pick out who are the freshmen. Freshmen go for shot fakes quicker than upperclassmen. It's a process you got to go through. So in what we were trying to do, we're trying to do something that was still simple.